pandemic all over the world, the lifestyle has completely changed, and the IT sector with various online meeting platforms are great blessings to us. We in general, in fact, were complaining and discussing that the WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram are a big challenge, and because of this social media platforms, our hobby is suffering. God made the justice, and now it is completely other way around. After successful and a revolutionary series of 18 online seminars over Zoom, today we are introducing another new model. Just one second. Another new model of short talks, and I'm sure you all will enjoy the same. Without taking more time, I'm straight away inviting our Honorable President, Mr. Richard Stock, to address the meeting. And Richard, it's over to you.
Thank you very much indeed, Markand. May I say welcome to everybody. Good morning, afternoon or evening, whichever is applicable. It's a great pleasure to have the opportunity to join you at this regional meeting. It's something that doesn't happen usually unless one is there physically present. So one of the advantages of Zoom is something that we are going to continue to develop. You will all, I think, have received the President's newsletter that was distributed last night. Just draw your attention to a couple of things. The book sales promotion, where we are offering free postage on the purchase of books for delivery within the UK and Europe, and a nominal sum of £10 outside Europe. It is my intention to continue these Zoom meetings, and I've got one or two ideas already in being. We do the annual general meeting, and there will be full details of that distributed in the next issue of the London Philatelist, which should be received by everybody around the 1st of August. Now, one thing that I do need to tell you about, we had planned that there would be a display at 15 Apchurch Lane on the 17th of September, which would consist of material from the Royal Philatelic Collection of Her Majesty the Queen. The subject would have been Malta, Gibraltar and Cyprus. I've had a conversation with Rod Vousden, and I also spoke to Jane Graham yesterday afternoon, who is the Deputy Keeper of the Privy Purse, and the collection unfortunately is still in lockdown at Buckingham Palace. So what we have agreed is that instead of the 17th of September, I have had a date vacated in my programme for the 11th of March next year, and we've provisionally booked that date for the Queen's display. Further details of my programme will be distributed hopefully at the next President's newsletter, which will go out in a fortnight's time. Now, there are other items in the programme which I've had to change, and that's why you haven't seen it distributed already. I've still got further contributors to contact about that. Other events are also being planned, and details of those will be distributed in due course. Can I just draw your attention to two other things? The Royal has been invited to be the exhibiting society at February Stampex in 2021. Now that is only in a relatively few months' time. I don't know exactly how many frames we will have, but what we are looking for is members to contribute one frame exhibits of 16 pages, and also at the end of that week, on the 19th of February, will be the postponed President's Dinner, of which many people have already retained their booking, it having been deferred after the cancellation of London 2020. Finally, can I mention London 2022, which will take place in February of that year, that the International Representatives Meeting, which was due to take place at London 2020, has been deferred until the new date for the exhibition in February 2022. And so John Aitchison will be in charge of that. He still has the list of those who intended to exhibit at London 2020, and he will be taking that forward. So we are moving forward. We're trying to get back to normal, but it's a great pleasure to be here today and to participate. I will have to leave early, unfortunately, because I have another appointment in about 40 minutes' time. I will have to leave. But may I wish you a very good and enjoyable series of displays for this afternoon. Markand, thank you very much indeed for inviting me, and it's back to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And may I now request FIP President Bernie Weston to address the meeting, and then we will start the presentations straight away. Bernie, it's over to you.
I think I've got it right.
Yeah, we can hear you, Bernie.
Delivered by the host.
Yeah, we can hear you, Bernie.
You right?
Bernie, we can hear you. You can proceed.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Firstly, Markand, thank you for the privilege of inviting me tonight. As you know, I have an interest in Indian philately in a fairly modest 25-volume collection of postal stationery. And I think it's never ending. Richard, thank you again for your kind words. I was going to remind members tonight about the special sale that the Royal has on books, and also to remind members that this is the time to buy books. I've been buying books overseas for many years, especially from America. P.S. Sales, H.H. Sales in England, and Burkhard Schneider, and of course from the USA. Keep in mind that Germany at the moment, no small packets are being mailed. So unless you want to pay 40 or 50 euro for FedEx, you can buy the book, but it'll sit in Germany. Most of you, I think, are fortunate enough to have some mobility at the moment. In Queensland now, we're not too bad, but we can't fly to Victoria. Victorians can't fly to any other state. Only 2 months ago, we couldn't go to the pub. I mean, that's just horrible, not being able to go out for a drink. Now they've changed that, but in New South Wales, they brought them back. You can't go to the pub unless you sit down. So they're all trying hard. I have great confidence in our government are trying. I'm not saying they're going to be successful. I think all of you are like me. You've been pulling things out of the cupboards you've long since. I've discovered books I didn't know I had, because I started to tidy up my study. I was very envious tonight looking at Richard and the wonderful tidy shelves he has been a few days and fixed my study up. Having said all that, tonight I think it's very important. 3 speakers I haven't heard from before. I'm very much looking forward to it. I can't tell you at this time whether Indonesia or the FIP Congress will proceed. It's almost a week-by-week event to see what keeps happening, and it's constantly changing. I just hope that if we do have it, that it's safe for people to travel and they're able to travel. And having said that, get on with the show, and thank you, Markand and Richard, and for you too, Mark, for facilitating this tonight. It's very, very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernard.
Thank you very much indeed, Bernie. And now I'm starting my presentation, Mark.
Okay.
Okay. From the beginning. Okay, so we are going to discuss the 4 Anas, a part of 4 Anas, altogether 5 printings, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. Very beautiful stamp, first bicolor of the colony, and I would like to mention Mr. D.N. Jatia in the very beginning, who published a book on this very fascinating stamp. 1854 4 annas, third printing. Mr. Jatia had carried an extensive study on this subject of the third printing of the 4 annas. He did a paper also in the Royal Philatelic Society, London, and was presented with a plaquette on 9th October 1980. The footnote, which is on the slide, that I got from Chris King many years ago, I think nearly 4 or 5 years ago, when we had the 10th regional meeting in Mumbai. I'm sure Kapil remember that. And here is a cover. This was issued by the Indian Institute of Philately when Mr. Jatia signed the roll of Distinguished Philatelist. On the right side, that's the medal or the plaquette of the roll where he signed, and that was on the 7th October 1983 during the 65th Congress in Bath. Okay, since it's a short presentation, we are straight away jumping in the main subject. When we are flipping the page of Mr. Jatia's book, we see all sort of diagrams like this. And those who are beginners get confused that what is all about this A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and on some of the pages he went all the way to stone Z, etc. And then he has confirmed flaws 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So here I have some examples, like we are taking this stamp. It's a 4 anna cut to shape example, cancel with C111, Cooper type 6 cancellation of Pondicherry. Now here I have identified at the position 4 on the seat and the confirmed flaws of the group 3. Now what is the group 3? So this is the group 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things what I have highlighted with the yellow circle. To understand it in a better way, we are referring the page number 36 of Mr. Jatia's book, and the flaw table says the group 3 flaws 1, 2, 3, which I have highlighted in the blue circle. So 3 of them are matching exactly here on the stamp which is on the left. And that's how we understand that what exactly Mr. Jatia wanted to say. We are taking another example from the stone B, position 3 and 4. So this beautiful pair with the wavy line in the center, and here we have the confirmed group flow of B, group B flaws. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 circles I have highlighted on the left stamp underneath in the diagram, and the same 4 circles I have drawn on the top left stamp as well. A very prominent is on the top right side, and that is the horseshoe flow. Underneath in the diagram you can see it's a horseshoe. On the top on the stamp you can see it's a horseshoe. So this exactly what Mr. Jatia wanted to convey, and it is really a very complex study he carried out, and it's a great gift to the students of 4 annas, particularly for the third printing. On the right side we can see this another 3 highlighted circles which are exactly getting matched with the diagram underneath. And again, if you want to see this horseshoe flow, a very prominent one. Okay, now we are flipping over in another subject. During the first, second, third and fourth printing, the alignment of the head was not that perfect. So it is going sometime up and down. Sometimes it is going on the right and sometimes it is going in the left. First, second, third and fourth printing. After the fourth printing, when they had the fifth printing, they realized that this thing has to be corrected. So what they did? they introduced a very tiny red dot, and I call it as an alignment mark, or you can also call it as an identification technique. Whenever you have this red dot in the margin area which is parallel to the Queen's nose, it means it is a fifth printing stamp. We will have another example of this vertical pair. In the center we have the enlarged image, and you can clearly see the tiny red dot, and that means that it is coming from the fifth printing. That's it. And the second subject I have selected, because I knew that I'm going to finish this very quickly, so that is for the 1948 Gandhi morning covers. Most of the Indian philatelists are aware with this Gandhi morning cover, and we are thinking that it's just one morning cover, but that's not the thing. So there is something. This is type 1, and why I call it type 1, you have Dr. L.P. Advani printed in silver ink here underneath this by Airmail Paravion square or rectangle box. So this is type 1. The size is same for the type 2 as well. Now this is type 2. In type 2, the L.P. Advani disappears and the R10 is printed instead of that stamp area where usually we affix the 10 rupee stamp. So they deliberately prepared two different covers, one for the 4 value and the second one which is for the 3 value, because the 10 rupee postage is such a higher postage rate in those days. So 3 value covers, rather than leaving that space empty, they printed the space for R10. And I have examined the 4 value covers with putting the LED light on the back, that whether the R10 is printed on those covers, and that is not the case. It is not printed there. Now the rare of the rarest one, type 3. It is such a big morning cover, almost like A4 size cover, and this black design is now printed on this big morning cover. And the type 1 and type 2, what we have seen earlier, I am scrolling back again to refresh your memory. This type 1 and type 2 are printed on glossy paper, and this type 3 is on the brown rough paper. And this cover is very interesting. Why? Because the 10 rupee is not a philatelically used stamp. It's not a philatelic usage. It's a commercial usage on first day, because the 10 rupee, after even applying the 10 rupee, the postage was not sufficient for registration and airmail thing together, so they applied another block of 6 of 12 annas on the back side. You can also see the receiving mark of the New York in violet as well as in black when it got finally delivered, and it is sent by that Advani itself, which you can see here. So one gentleman told me that all those big the small morning covers of the 4 value and 3 value might have posted using this big brown envelope, because it is going to one of the stamp dealer in New York, Aleda Stamp Company. So here is the final comparison of type 1, 2 and 3, the 2 small one and the big one. And in the end we have a little description. I will wait here for at least 10 seconds if you want to have a quick read for the description, etc. And then I'm going to end my presentation, and the next speaker is Dr. Uttam Reddy, who is coming up with 1911, the world's first aerial post thing, and he published a very nice article in London Philatelist. Any questions even after this presentation, and those who are watching on the YouTube, the recording viewers, you can point your camera, follow me on either Twitter or Facebook or on Instagram, and you can ask me, you can communicate with me, because we have a limited time for question answer session, and Mark is going to handle that. Thank you very much indeed, and that's it. I'm done.
Thank you, Mark, and Shall we take questions on your presentation
Oh,
now before we move to the next one?
Yeah, for 5 minutes, no problem.
Right. What I'd like you to do, ladies and gentlemen, if you've got questions, please be so kind as to use the chat facility. The chat facility you can find if you put your mouse pointer over your Zoom screen. You'll see that at the bottom there's some controls and there's one marked chat. If you click on that, you can then post your question by typing it in and sending it to everyone. We'll all see the question and then we can ask Markand all about it. Yeah? So has anyone got any questions for Markand really at this stage?
Let me open the chat box as well. From me to Bernard Weston. Any questions?
Yeah, Markand, I want to ask you one question.
Yes, please.
All right, Harsh, go on then.
So, Markand, the question is, these covers are made by Mr. Advani, am I correct?
Yeah, Mrs. Advani, Leela P. Advani.
Yeah. So, and you know that there are many other types of covers, which we call private covers. We are having different things.
Yeah,
on
private
so
first aid covers.
So, why we are calling this one only morning cover? Why not the other one?
Oh, yeah, this is the popular black morning cover. I can say that. There are other morning covers. I think nearly 6 or 7 it might be. And Mr. Thakkar, who lives in Gujarat, in my state, he carried a detailed study and published a catalog, a book of the private first aid covers. And I'm sure there are nearly 6 or 7 of those.
No, if you talk about private caches, like more than 50 different.
Yeah, but this is popularly known as morning cover because of that black color, Hers. You know that.
Okay. No problem. You answer my question.
Thank you.
Markand bhai, good evening, Pragya here.
Yes, Pragya.
Yeah, I have a small question. Could you take me to your first slide of the 4 Anas, where you have shown a French cancellation?
Is this the one?
Yeah, I think this is the one. Yes. Yes. The question is, you were saying that this is position 4, but the flaws that you have confirmed is of group 3. Could you please clarify on that?
Sorry?
Here you are saying that the position of the stamp is 4.
Position?
Position of the stamp is 4.
Pragya, the position according to the watermark is 4 and the group flow is 3.
Could you elaborate on that for me, please? I'm not able to understand that part.
Yeah, the position.
I thought that group 3 is basically the position of the stamp. The recurrence of.
See, let me make it very clear. Let me scroll down to this page. I am sure it will be helpful to you. So you go through the page number 36 of Jatia, because I think if I'm going to talk all about it and then it might be a lengthy conversation.
Yeah, try not to go over it all again.
Yeah. Okay, so Mark, shall I invite Uttam? If no more questions, then please.
I think so. I think that'd be really good. But thank you, Pragya, for seeking clarification on that point. But basically, the stamp was position 4 based on the position in the sheet, and group 3 was to do with the flaws, the group of flaws that Mr. Jatia had noted in his document. And it was that was the distinction that Markand was making there.
Yeah.
I hope that's clear to you, sir.
Thank you.
Right. So I will now, yes, as you were saying, Markand, please invite Dr. Reddy to give his talk.
Uttam, may I request you to start screen sharing and please.
Yes, I'm just trying to share my screen.
It's very simple. There is a green button in the bottom center. There you go.
He's done it. Yeah, done it.
So you can see my screen now?
Yes, sir. And
Okay.
can you then do slideshow start from beginning? Fantastic. There you are. You're on.
Thank you, Markand, for inviting me today. My name is Uttam Reddy, for those who don't know me, and today I'm going to be talking about the world's first aerial post. 1911 with a special focus on private picture postcards and official United Provinces exhibition covers that were flown in this flight. The world's first aerial post, termed official because it was carried out by obtaining the required permissions from the Post and Telegraph Department. The Postmaster General of the United Provinces, Mr. G.R. Clark,